not everything needs a fight. Sometimes you fight instead of taking the lesson. I'm going to repeat this because that's what I want to talk about. Sometimes there's a lesson and not a fight. Nou wil julle voorbeeld maak wat gebeur. My dogter sê vir my, Daddy, can I tell you something that's bothering me about you? I said, yes. She said, Daddy, why is it that you don't want the foreigners to own businesses here? Why is it that you don't want them to own businesses here? They're looking for money for their children also. I said, okay. I said, can Daddy teach you an example in the next 8 days? She said, fine. We go to Dubai on holiday with my kids. I block off one day. I get them all visas to Ethiopia. I pay. My office fills in every form. I pay 30,000 rent. I tell my kids, come. We jump off in Ethiopia. I said, we're going into Ethiopia for 5 hours. I want you to tell me, do you see a South African with a shop there? They say, fine, Daddy. My daughter says, of course there will be South Africans with shops. I said, I'll give you 1,000 rand for every South African with a shop you will see in Ethiopia. When we got to the border gate, they didn't know who I was. They check our visas. They say, where do you stay in Ethiopia? We said, no, we are not staying. We are flying back to South Africa tonight. We are just going for 5 hours. They say, but you have to have a hotel. I said, but why would we need an hotel if we are not staying? We are going in and we're coming out. Here's our flight ticket back. Here's our visa that you gave us that we paid for. They said, no, you're not coming into our country. My elder son said, what? I said, shh. This is not a fighting time. This is a lesson time. They refused to let my family into Ethiopia with all the papers, having paid for a visa. They gave us the visas, and the Ethiopian government refused for us to go into Ethiopia. And I said to my kids, let's go back. I didn't tell them I'm a minister. I didn't need to tell them I'm a minister because I wanted to impart a lesson to my children that when their father says, Abba Hambe here, it's because their father behaves no different than what these people that wants to take over our country is behaving in their country. I'm a minister. They can check that on the screen. But they didn't want me in the country. My son is a successful businessman. My children, it flies back. They don't want to let them in the country. But they come in our country. And there's some of you that says, we must allow people here to destroy us. So next time, before you open your mouth, you must understand why is it that your leaders are taking certain decisions. Why will they protect their country, but they want to do what they like in our country? But the main lesson I want to impart with you tonight, you fight where you should learn. I'm going to repeat that. You fight like my son wanted to fight. It wasn't a fighting moment. It was a teachable moment.
So Minister Mckenzi has finally come out to share his experience with Ethiopian immigration officers, right? How he was kicked out of Ethiopia. They never allowed him to come into the country with his family, right? I love the story. I love this experience. Like, in fact, for me, I would say it's a good audio. Like, he did well by sharing his audio for the public to hear. You see, most times we Africans always think that South Africa is the only country that do not allow other Africans to flock into their country simply because these people don't come out to share their stories. They do not come out to speak, right? If we can all be sincere to ourselves, we will tell ourselves the truth that every country has its immigration rules. And when you don't meet up to the immigration rules, trust me, you will not be allowed to come into the country. But most times, when people don't meet up with the immigration rules, they tend to move into the country through the other side. We all know they tend to come into the country illegally by either coming through the window, through the fence, and stuff like that. And now imagine something like this happened in Ethiopia and nobody heard of it. I can imagine the pains the children felt the very moment they were asked to go back. Like, it can be very, very painful. I'm sure you know how it is when a child has made up her mind to go and explore in Ethiopia, see beautiful places in Ethiopia, see a lot of things that he or she hasn't seen before, right? And just at the port of entry, they are asked to go back on, despite the fact that they have their visas, they have their return ticket, they have everything, right? And the family is asked to go back simply because they do not have their accommodation. And they explained to the immigration that they are not going to sleep over. So what's the essence of paying for accommodation when they know that they are going back soon? They just want to explore in Ethiopia just for a few hours and they will go back. The immigration bluntly refused. Now, those same people, these same Ethiopians are the ones in South Africa doing illegal, when I mean illegal business, like they are doing illegal business and they are in the country undocumented. It's not as if they are properly documented. They are in the country undocumented. And when you ask them, they'll tell you that is one Africa. We are all Africans, that they do not need visa. They don't need this to be in South Africa, right? And when they are being kicked out of the country, the next minute you see them shouting, South Africans are xenophobic. South Africans are xenophobic. These are African brothers, blah, 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 blah. Now, my question is this: between this Ethiopia, like what Minister Mackenzie shared, between his experience and what is going on in South Africa, which one do you think, which country do you think that their immigration rules is strict and tight? Is it not Ethiopia? How can someone, like a family, how can someone show you his return ticket and you say that the person is also going back same day and you still demand hotel reservation when they have explained to you that they are going back the same day? So what are they reserving hotels for? We Africans that have been criticizing South Africans should just be coming down small small. Like, let's be coming down small small. This is too much. Most of us that have been criticizing South Africans, let me tell you, most of you, your country policy and even the immigration rules is more strict than South Africa. But majority of you will still come out and sit down and be speaking down on South Africa. You do not want to obey the immigration rules, and your country immigration rules is not even favorable to other Africans. Before you tag any country negative names, ask yourself if your country is better than this country. If your country is better than that country, then remain in your country. But if you must move to this country, make sure you obey their immigration rules. It's very simple. Obey the immigration rules. If you enter that country illegally through back door, through the window, anything you see in that country, take it like that. The government, no government should change because of you. If you can't adhere to the instructions, if you can't obey the rules, if you can't obey the immigration policy, stay back in your country. It's not by force. Like, nobody forced you to go to South Africa. Nobody points gun at you to move to South Africa. You on your own packed your bags and decided to move to South Africa. So you should obey their rules. It's very, very simple. I think that probably before someone moves to any country, you must have to make some findings, ask questions. How is this country? Are they friendly? Do they accept foreigners? How is it? Is it easy to get a job when someone moves there? These are the things that you will have to make inquiries for you to know if the immigration rules is that flexible. If you think and if you say that you do not meet up to the immigration rules, then you have to cancel moving to that country. You just have to look elsewhere. South Africa is a country that is very, very strict with their immigration rules. Not that they are not friendly, they are very, very friendly. Those that have been there and those that are still living there can testify that South Africans are so amazing. Like they are so, so amazing. But at the same time, they do not joke with their immigration rules. They don't like saying, like, they don't even like hearing it when you are in their country. As an undocumented foreigner, they don't like it. Like they do not like it. And we all know the truth that in fact, South Africa is actually an African country that has almost the highest level of crime rates in Africa. Yes, like if I'm not mistaken, I do not want to say that South Africa has the highest level of crime rate in Africa. I said almost, right? Good. And when you trace very well, you will discover that most of those crime, like most, not that South Africans don't have bad apples, right? They also have their own bad people among them. Yes, South Africans, they also have this bad people among them. But the one that pains most is when you leave your country and move to another person's country, like for them, they know how they treat their people, right? But when you leave your country and move to another person's country, then you stay there to create nuisance. You form gang and begin to do all manner of things. Most of those undocumented foreigners, they don't get job. Yes, because nobody is very, very hard, so difficult for them to be employed. So how are they going to feed on if not on crime? They commit crime and make the country so insecure for the citizens. They commit crime and make the country so unbearable. I've shared a lot of videos where I wouldn't want to mention the country anyway. I wouldn't want to mention the country, but I shared videos of where most Africans that are in South Africa as undocumented, they forcefully sleep with teenage South African girls, and after that they unalive them. That is so heartbreaking. These are not South Africans. They are visitors. How on earth can someone visit you in your house, even though you never invited this person into your home, even though you are not aware that such person is coming to your house, and this person just visits you like that? And not just that, he visited you without informing you, and you begin to misbehave in your house and do a manner of thing, and at the end the person will unalive the children in that home. How would you feel? Will you still be smiling at such people? That is exactly what is going on in South Africa. So, for most of you that are speaking down on South Africa, saying that they do not like blacks in their country, you yourself, your country, are you sure that your country accepts other blacks? And are you also sure that your country's immigration rules is more flexible than South Africa? Are you guys that welcoming than South Africa? If you guys are welcoming than South Africa, if the immigration rules is more flexible than South Africa, why are there no lots of foreigners in your country? So you guys should be coming down. I beg you guys should be coming down. I love how Minister Mackenzie shared his audio. I love it so much, so that everyone will understand that South Africa is not the only country that is so strict with their immigration rules. Some countries are even worse than South Africa.